In the top stories, the Poxon Hospital celebrates its 105th anniversary. Her Majesty's Prison to implement the Family Connect initiative and the mystery ingredient revealed for Restaurant Week 2017. The details to these and more coming up right after the break. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. I am your presenter, Veer Galloway. The Sandy Point-based Poxon Hospital, which was recently rebuilt and recommissioned as the Poxon Medical Center on March 26, 2017, celebrated 125 years since it was erected and commissioned on March 31, 1892. Deputy Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative for St. Christopher 5, the Honorable Sean Richards, commended the institution and those who have worked within its precincts over the 125 years. He said the impact of this facility in improving health care and by extension the health of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is immeasurable. The institution must ensure that it continues to provide quality health care to all its patients, thereby enriching their lives. Additionally, Minister of State within the Ministry of Health, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, congratulated the Poxon Hospital on the attainment of the milestone, stating, "There are very few institutions in Sandy Point with a longer history of service to the community than Poxon." Mr. Edward Poxon, a planter and owner of Boaks Estate, Sandy Point, bequeathed the property on which the Poxon Hospital is presently located to the people of Sandy Point to be used as an emergency care center. That decision was made after Mr. Poxon heard the groans of a woman giving birth in a cane field. In his last will and testament, he stated preference must be given to the delivery of pregnant women at the facility. The Poxon Hospital, which is situated on the right of the Poxon Medical Center, has a labor and a delivery room. The introduction of Family Connect into the confines of Her Majesty's Prison in St. Kitts and Nevis is, according to officials, a clear demonstration of the continued commitment towards the wholesome rehabilitation of residents within the system. Family Connect is a telephone system designated specifically for the use of the residents to stay connected to their family. The initiative is at no cost to the prison service and is a partnership with a local telecoms provider. Superintendent of Prisons, Drew Nihad, said, "It is clear that when the residents are in contact with those who can support them in terms of positive encouragement and have regular contact with family, they are more responsive to the rehabilitation process." Family Connect provides residents with the opportunity to make outgoing calls to their families on a daily basis between the hours of 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Residents must have available phone credit on their account in order to use the system. The residents must also provide a listing of up to 5 pre-approved numbers for family members they would like to call. Mounted phones have been placed in the recreation yard and in other common areas for their use. The Assistant Superintendent of Prisons, Alton Liberd, welcomes the initiative, saying, "From a security point of view, I hope this can reduce the temptation for family members of trying to introduce contraband into the prison." He added, "I look forward to seeing positive changes in attitudes with the frequent contact between residents and their family." In preparation for the launch of the program in the coming weeks, residents are being briefed on their expectations for use of this telephone system. The buzz for the St. Kitts Nevis Restaurant Week 2017 has begun with the announcement that yams will be this year's theme ingredient. Now in its third year, Restaurant Week highlights the rich culinary culture of St. Kitts and Nevis. Special menus with exquisite selected dishes, fixed price dinner menus, and lunchtime specials at reduced prices are showcased from the 19th to the 30th of July 2017. Restaurants will prepare special dishes with yams, which will be showcased throughout Restaurant Week. In 2015, the theme ingredient was the local breadfruit, and in 2016, it was the local pumpkin. These ingredients are chosen to support local farmers by raising demand for the commodities. Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant, said Restaurant Week afforded the destination the opportunity for visitors and locals to revel in a uniquely Kiddishan and Nivision experience, a love of good food enjoyed with great friends and their family. Restaurant Week will also host a chef cook-off. Stay tuned to the local media for more information. St. Kitts Nevis Restaurant Week is a federation-wide partnership of the St. Kitts and Nevis Ministries of Tourism, Ministries of Agriculture, Tourism Authorities, Department of People's Empowerment, the Hotel and Tourism Association, and the many restaurants and food producers of St. Kitts and Nevis. And coming up after the break, post-cabinet briefing highlights the approval of submissions for concessions and the police in search of another wanted man. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Welcome back to the news. A formal meeting of Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris took place on Monday. In a recent post-cabinet briefing, Director General of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, Leslie Williams, outlined discussions held to address Cabinet's approval of several submissions for concessions to small and medium-sized enterprises.
Cabinet approved several submissions for concessions to small and medium-sized enterprises. Cabinet appreciated that the bulk of jobs created in St. Kitts and in Nevis are by SMEs. 75% of all jobs in the Caribbean region have been attributed to SMEs. Cabinet was encouraged by the positive impact of the Fresh Start Loan Program being implemented by the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Williams noted that over 500 applicants have already been approved.
To date, over 500 applications have been approved for a variety of businesses on both St. Kitts and Nevis. In his 2017 budget address, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, indicated that the government had mobilized $35.4 million to assist SMEs in the Federation.
Cabinet also discussed matters relating to the legislative agenda and provided direction to assist the legal drafting committee. The Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force has issued a press release informing that Shane Amory, the person identified in a wanted person bulletin issued on Friday, March 31, was located by the police. The police extends its appreciation to the public for their assistance. The police, however, need your help to find another wanted man. A police release issued on Friday states there is a warrant out for the arrest of Calvin Archibald of Upper Cayon and Sandy Point. He is 6 feet 1 inch tall and clear in complexion. The police are asking anyone who knows the whereabouts of Calvin Archibald to call the nearest police station or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-847-7-TIPS. You can also use the SKN Crime Reporter app on your smartphone. The police are warning persons to not approach Archibald, but call the police instead, as he is considered armed and dangerous. Tizina Brooks of Brown Pasture Nevis is the Department of Agriculture's 23rd Annual Agriculture Open Day patron. Brooks, 63, was recognized for her outstanding contribution to the department for the past 22 years. She was presented with a plaque, a bouquet of flowers, and a fruit basket by Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory, at the opening ceremony of the two-day event, March 30, 2017. In response, Brooks later told the Department of Information that she was pleased for the public recognition of her long service to the department and expressed her love for agriculture. The Open Day on Nevis showcases the progress made by the department in the past year in the areas of crop and vegetable farming, veterinary services, fishes, and agro-processing. It was held under the theme Embracing Climate-Smart Agriculture to Achieve Food Security. And coming up, HIV elimination project to boost HIV treatment success. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news as we move to news regionally, where the OECS HIV-TB elimination project is hoping to boost HIV treatment success in the sub-region and mitigate drug resistance. This week in St. Lucia, project officials held a one-day implementation training for HIV drug resistance monitoring in the OECS. More in this HTS St. Lucia report.
The HIV-TB elimination project is geared at implementing HIV, sexually transmitted disease and tuberculosis interventions in the OECS. It hopes to reduce the rates of new infections by ensuring that services for those diseases are sustained and readily available to key populations. This week, project officials held a one-day implementation training exercise on HIV drug resistance monitoring in the OECS. Dr. Cleophas Dovey says the St. Lucia meeting will be used in a landmark study at a time of growing global concern over HIV and TB drug resistance.
Based on similar studies in some countries in the region, there have been reported prevalence of transmitted HIV-DR ranging from 2.8% to 8.1%, while the overall prevalence of total drug resistance in the Caribbean has been estimated at 4.3%. In our local OECS context, of our 1,025 patients on ART in the region, there is already drug resistance, the prevalence of which we do not know, but will certainly ascertain through this study.
According to UNAIDS, for the majority of people, antiretroviral therapy is extremely effective in treating HIV and allows them to live longer, healthier lives. However, HIV is a complex virus and is capable of adaptation and mutation, leading to drug resistance. Dr. Dovey says this study will have a myriad of benefits for the region, including a better understanding of and solid research on drug resistance in the OECS.
But it will help the clinical team at the lab technicians, the physicians, the nurses, the pharmacists, everybody, in understanding the epidemiology of the disease within the clinical setting and wider community. Ministries of health of participating countries will benefit from the data generated from the study to inform their national HIV and TB-HIV programs, as well as providing the evidence to inform policy decision and budgetary allocations for pharmacological therapy, clinical treatment, and care.
Joan Didier heads the OECS Regional Coordinating Mechanism. She says the success of the program depends on the work of partners.
Each and every one of you here plays a critical role to the success of this Global Fund project. The failure of one of you to play your part efficiently and effectively will result in us getting a bad rating from the Global Fund and being unable to go forward to the next continued process. As you all know, this is a performance-based grant, so we are judged on how we perform.
The one-day drug resistance monitoring session was held on Thursday, March 30th. Officials hope the focus in this area can result in comprehensive country and regional data on patterns of HIV drug resistance.
Welcome back. As we move further afield, 9 Malaysians who were caught up in the diplomatic dispute that followed the murder of their estranged half-brother of North Korea's leader were released from North Korea. In exchange, Malaysia released 2 North Korean suspects and Kim Jong-nam's body. Al Jazeera's Marina Hond has the latest.
They'd been held in North Korea for 6 weeks. 9 Malaysians caught up in the diplomatic dispute that followed the murder of the estranged half-brother of North Korea's leader. They're now back home after the 2 countries agreed a swap deal. The 9 Malaysians in exchange for 2 suspects and Kim Jong-nam's body.
When the DPRK government imposed the travel ban, which prevented from leaving, we were very concerned, especially since we had committed no wrong.
As part of the deal, Malaysia agreed to release Kim's body, and it allowed 2 North Koreans, both of them suspects in his murder, to return to Pyongyang. Malaysia's police chief said investigators took recorded statements from the suspects before they left, and that the investigation continues.
We wanted their assistance because they were seen at certain location, in the CCTVs. So now that they have clarified, and we are satisfied, and we are finished with them. So that's why we allow them to go.
Kim Jong-nam was poisoned last month at Kuala Lumpur airport with a banned toxic nerve agent. A Vietnamese and an Indonesian woman were charged with his murder. Both reportedly maintained they believed they were part of a television prank. Malaysia has not directly blamed North Korea, but Pyongyang is widely suspected of being behind the attack. North Korea, for its part, insists Kim died of a heart attack. Many in Malaysia welcomed the end of what was widely viewed as a major crisis, but suspicions about the case remain.
I'm not really relieved even though the case has ended. I think something more will happen.
I have no idea how the 2 governments resolved this problem, but it's good they can now get on with their lives.
North Korea hasn't identified the body as Kim's, although Malaysia confirmed it with DNA from a relative. In a statement on his website, the Malaysian Prime Minister said they released the body following an autopsy and after receiving a letter from his family requesting the remains be returned to North Korea. 6 weeks on, the reason for Kim's murder is still unclear. Interpol has an international arrest warrant out for 4 North Koreans in connection with the murder, but reclusive North Korea isn't a member of the International Police Organization. The release of 2 suspects in the swap deal will not help an already difficult investigation. Miriam Nahond, Al Jazeera.
Up next in sports, North Carolina eligible to host championship games again, and MMA provides a space to escape for war-weary Afghanistan. Stay tuned. Welcome back as we now take a look at the latest sporting developments. A major collegiate has deemed North Carolina eligible to host sporting events again after controversy following an LGBT bathroom ban. Here is more.
The Atlantic Coast Conference, a major collegiate athletic league, has made North Carolina eligible to once again host sporting events after the state repealed an LGBT law seen as discriminatory. The ACC Council of Presidents has voted that North Carolina will again be considered for hosting future ACC championships, the conference said in a statement on Friday. In boycotting North Carolina, the ACC followed the lead of the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or NCAA, which had made a similar decision a few days earlier.
Tottenham cut the gap to Premier League leaders Chelsea to 7 points as they overcame a stubborn Burnley at Turf Moor. The visitors struggled in a drab first half as Dele Alli fired wide when well-placed, and both central midfielders Victor Wanyama and Harry Winks were withdrawn through injury. Winks suffered a particularly nasty fall, tumbling into the Burnley dugout after trying to tackle Stephen Ward before he was carried off on a stretcher at the interval. And despite a lack of attacking fluency, Spurs continued to exert pressure on the Clarets from corners, with Eric Dier firing in after the hosts failed to properly clear Christian Eriksen's delivery. Vincent Janssen, making his first Premier League start of 2017, became the 3rd Tottenham player forced off injured, but that allowed the introduction of Son Heung-min. And the Courier striker made sure victory as he tapped in Ali's squared pass on 77 minutes as Spurs controlled the final stages. Victory coupled with Chelsea's shock 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace ensures Mauricio Pochettino's side stay in contention for the title with 9 games remaining. Amid booming music and cheering fans, Afghans in Afghanistan gathered to watch the country's first professional mixed martial arts fights to help detract them from the deadly violence that continues to plague their country. Sports like cricket and soccer often garner national attention in Afghanistan, but others see sports like MMA not only as entertainment, but as an opportunity for young people to excel at sports. Some fighters say they dreamt of the next step being international competition. So far, only young men have competed in the handful of competitions, but organizers say they're training women fighters, and the walls of the club feature posters of American MMA fighter Ronda Rousey. Afghans say the mixed martial arts is also a constructive pastime for young people in a country ravaged by war and conflict. That's sports, and when we come back, we'll have another look at the stories that made the headlines. And recapping the top stories, Poxton Hospital celebrates its 125th anniversary. Her Majesty's Prison to implement the Family Connect initiative and mystery ingredient revealed for Restaurant Week 2017. And that's the end of the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. Thank you for watching. I am Via Galloway.